Hello everybody! It's finally time for another Free Base Friday. And I figured for this one, because it's going to be fairly quick and to the point, I'm just going to redo one of my older bases again, this time being the Feral Dutch Angel Dragon reference sheet. This one I wanted to redo for a couple reasons, mostly because it was one of the very first bases that I ever offered, and it is horrendously outdated. And I also wanted to take the time to do a couple more things in terms of the customization options that this base offers. Because there are so many other things that we can put into bases like this in order to make them more custom for each person, and I really like having more accessible parts for my bases. So for this particular one, I did the side and front views again, but this time I also included a top-down pelt view, so that way people who have very complex designs for their Dutch Angel Dragon characters will be able to make sure that their markings are accurately represented on the top of the character. I also included a ton of different parts and customization options. We have horns, feathers, fins, tails, hairs, feet. There's even different feet! And I did all of these different things so that this base will be a little bit more overall coverage, as well as doing the coloring versions like you've seen me do on a lot of my more recent bases. And this has kind of been like a turning point, I think, in the bases that I offer, because I want people to be able to look at how the markings are placed on these designs to help them understand how to put markings on a character that would make sense in 3 dimensions. I do find that it is mostly the younger furs that do struggle with this. They're not really sure how to accurately represent a character's markings on the design so that it makes sense in 3 dimensions. Because oftentimes when you're placing markings on anything, if it's not directly the front and back view, it doesn't quite look right when you think about it in 3 dimensions. And in terms of using these reference sheets for anything that's 3-dimensional, whether it be sculptures, plushies, fursuits, whatever, having good marking placement and representation is super duper important. So hopefully by putting in these like fake character designs into these reference sheets, they give you a little bit more understanding about how to place these markings on your character so that they make sense in 3 dimensions. It also just makes it look a little bit more visually appealing, I think, for most people to be able to see their character represented like this with nice, crispy, clean line work. And I'm really hoping to do more bases like this in the future, as well as like expansion packs for my bases that will literally just be like a ton of horns, a ton of fins, a ton of wings, a ton of different stuff that will be as modular as possible for each base so that you can use them interchangeably with all my different free bases. This one in particular, I put a lot of effort into because it is one of my older bases and I really did feel like redoing a lot of the work on it to make it better for you, but I also wanted to do something kind of fun and cutesy to distract my brain a little bit from life lately. And I know my channel is mostly for doing just tutorials and free bases like this, but I do have a more serious video that I'm planning to release here sometime soon, and I think it's been a long time coming, so I'm going to be hopefully launching that sometime soon. But don't worry, I'm not like leaving YouTube or anything. It's just gonna kind of go over some things in my life that have been going on and why there's been significant lacks in a lot of my videos and a lot of my content. Those who follow my more casual social medias like TikTok may have noticed that my post rate has just fallen through the ground, and I'll make a video that fully explains why that is later on in the future. But for now, I'm wrapping up the last bits of the base here, so I really hope you enjoyed me watching me create it and stuff. Yeah! And here is the finished product for the base. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video, whether it be just to see me create a thing in quick time, or if you just wanted to listen to my voice for a little bit. I've been told it's soothing to listen to, so I hope you at least get that out of it. There are a lot of things that I want to be able to cover in that upcoming video that I mentioned, and one of them is going to be related to Patreon, which I want to try and do a more all-encompassed Patreon outro so that it doesn't end up taking me 40 minutes every time I go to record an outro video, because that's ridiculous at this point. So if you do want to support me with these bases, The line work is always free, available on my website. You just have to go to the free bases section and download the lines. They are always going to be free, so if you find the line work sold anywhere, it is a scam. Please be very, very observant, especially this time of the year. There's a lot of scams out there. And the other thing that I do want to mention about these bases is that if you want to support me a little bit more financially, you can either purchase the PSD file, which comes with all those fancy schmancy extras, via my Patreon or my web store. On the web store, this base is going to be just a simple $10. If you want to support me on Patreon and get access to this base as well as all the other bases I have ever created, then you need to go to patreon.com/Neffertity. Subscribing at the $5 tier or higher will give you access to every free base Friday that I have ever created, including some of the older and more retired bases that no longer exist on my actual website for the free line works. But feel no pressure to do so. I'm also not going to do a super long Patreon outro plug here because I'm working on a couple really big videos and I want to be able to allocate the time properly into those. So for the time being, we're just going to wrap it up here. I really hope you enjoyed, and yeah, that's all I got for you. But as always, I do truly hope that you have an absolutely wonderful day and a fantastic life.